What is good, YouTube? It's Ferg Tactical, and what I have here in front of me is a Lifepod 1.0 and a Lifepod 2.0. When I went to buy mine for the first time, I didn't really see any comparison videos out there comparing the size. I did make a YouTube short on this a while ago, and I was meaning to make a more in-depth video comparing the two. But yeah, so what we can see here first, take a look and see the size difference. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but that would be the size difference between the two right there. So the Lifepod 2.0, you are getting a good upgrade in size, but you may have like space constraints. You may not want something overly big or whatever you're trying to put in here. Mainly, a lot of people use these for firearms. So if you have a smaller gun, this would be a lot more feasible. If you don't have a lot of mags to go with it, this would be something more feasible. Like, for example, my girlfriend has a Glock 43X. This is actually my girlfriend's case, so I bought it for her. And her gun fits in here well. I have a Glock 30, and when I have that gun with a holster, it is kind of hard to fit in this box, but this one it fits in no problem. But I'll show you guys in a minute. So just for me showing you the overlays alone, I don't like that. I kind of want to show you guys the difference in size. I don't know how well you can see that, but with the tape measure here, it's saying it's about 7.5 inches across from this part to this part. And lengthwise, with the 2.0, you're looking at right at about 10 inches or just under. So you have quite a bit of real estate to be able to put stuff in it. Versus the smaller one, you're looking at about 6.25 inches width, and length, you're talking about 8.5 inches. So you are getting a good size increase with the 2.0. Granted, I'm sure all this information is out there, but as we know, a lot of people come to YouTube just to look stuff up, and you don't want to look it up, or even then, seeing it on paper versus visualizing it, big difference. All right, so another big difference here would be the depth in what you're getting. So with this insert in each one, on this side, you're getting just under 1.25 inches. On this one, you're not even getting a full inch really with the insert in. Now you can take these inserts out, so let's measure them with it out. With the inserts out, you're looking at about 1.5 inches, and over here you're looking at about 1.25 inches. So you guys understand, it may not sound like a major difference, but that depth makes a difference. I like keeping the insert in because it helps secure the stuff without it sliding around, and it kind of just stays in place. So like I said, this one I bought for my girlfriend, so she uses her Glock 43X in here and the extra mag with the gun and the holster and everything. She's not here right now, so I can't showcase her setup and how she uses it. I do have other firearms, but I do want to showcase the ones that are usually in these boxes, because no other guns that I have are really in these boxes aside from these two. So for starters, Glock 30 Gen 4, yes, it's clear, empty. And this is what I usually have in here if I'm not carrying it. This is my main carry gun, so I'd only be switching it out with this one, which is my Bodyguard 380. That I usually have this one in here, and then if I'm like going to work or somewhere where, you know, it's a kind of sensitive area where you need a smaller firearm, I switch it out for this one, I put this in here. So let me show you guys how this carries versus this one with these guns. All right, so as you can see in this case over here, I'm able to fit my Glock 30, which is a thick gun. It's thick. It's a 45 ACP handgun, and it's thick. So if you've never picked up, say, a Glock 21, Glock 30, or a Glock 41, they are very thick guns because they're double stack 45s. You can see how thick the rounds are that come out of there. So when it's in here, you can fit this all together, no problems, and you still have a little bit of space here if you want to fit something else small there. Depending on the size mags you use, you can fit more than 2 or 3 mags. Say you have a mag in the gun, you have a mag here, you have a mag here. This gun comes with standard 10-round mags. I have a 13 and a 17 here, so obviously it takes up more space, but this is usually how I carry it. So if you're trying to reference something bigger, like a full-size firearm, like a Glock 21, lengthwise with this mag in, this is how it would be. So this right now would be like the grip length of a Glock 21. The barrel's shorter than a Glock 21, obviously, but as you can see, you still can fit another mag in here. You can put this mag up here and still slip another one in from behind. So that's a good amount of stuff you can fit. You can even if you want, you can fit a knife there and you're good. If you even just want to have the gun cleared in back, most firearms you can fit them in here and have the slide locked back and still have it in here with no problems. Now let's move to this side. So as you can see, moving on to this one, this is the 1.0 version. This gun is not long by any means. It's a subcompact 45, so it's thick, but it's fairly short. I think it has like 3-inch barrel, 3.6-inch barrel or something like that. You can't fit it in here with the slide lock back. Being that this is a subcompact firearm, most subcompacts are going to be in this range because, you know. So if you have anything bigger, this is not going to be the box for you. As you can see, I have a flashlight on this firearm, and it fits flush. If you have a flashlight sticking out on a subcompact gun, it's likely not going to fit. Granted, I do have this beaver tail, so the gun takes up more space where I can't push it back. And you may be able to squeeze that in, but anything over subcompact that's this size, it's going to be kind of tough to fit in there. So there are flush fitting mags to this gun, so you'd be able to fit another mag here no problem. But in this case, with the longer mag, you can't fit both like we easily could here and could have fit another mag. So that's another thing to consider. If you guys tend to carry different size magazines a lot, I would definitely recommend this one over this one. But if you just carry something that's fairly small, like Glock 30 size, Glock 26 size, or like a SIG P365 or like a CZ P10C or something in that range, you'd be okay with this. But the bigger firearm is just not really made for this. And another thing we got to talk about, like I said, is this gun's thick. So let me show you how this closes with it. So as you can see, even then, yes, it closes. You can definitely get it to close up and lock, but it already kind of sits up with this gun in there. So imagine when this gun's sitting in a holster, it kind of creates a problem trying to close this one. As you see, you can still get it to close, but you have to force it closed and really force this over. I've actually broken these not pushing it down and closing it first. So that's another thing to consider. If you have a gun that's thicker, or you plan on putting it in here with a holster and you have a thicker gun, I don't advise this one for you. My girlfriend's Glock 43X fits in here fine with the holster. It's not nearly as tight of a fit as this one is with this holster and how thick the gun is. In this case, when I usually carry it, I do carry 2 mags when I'm carrying my firearms, and I always carry a knife with me. So when I'm carrying this gun, if I'm using this case for whatever reason, I left mine or I just don't have it for whatever reason, I can only fit the standard size Glock 21 mag and a knife. This one has to go somewhere else. I can't put it in here. So that's something to consider, like I said. So now that we've talked about the bigger and thicker guns, this one's better suited for it. If you have a smaller gun, let's get into that. So if you have a smaller gun, like a micro pocket pistol like this, or if you have a slimmer subcompact gun like a Glock 43X or SIG P365 or something along those lines, I would much more advise this one. I'm gonna show you why. As you can see on the Lifepod 1.0, this fits in here quite perfectly. But being a smaller gun, you fit the extra mag and you fit the knife. So I feel like this, between these two guns, this is usually along the lines of what a lot of people carry out every day. Some people carry less. Some of you probably only carry the gun and the knife. Some of you probably only carry a small gun. Some carry, you know, bigger gun, bigger knife. Depends, you know, everybody's rotation of what they EDC can still carry is different. You may not even be using this for a gun. It could be for a wallet or something. But a lot of people are looking for gun safes or like stuff to lock up their everyday carry items that are more valuable, like guns and knives. So that's why I'm kind of highlighting the firearm side of this. You can see, like I said, since this piece sticks up more, it does make it a little bit harder to close, but it does close. But this wouldn't be a problem if I didn't have the holster on. But that being said, you can see, yeah, the knife moves around a little bit, but you're moving this, it's not a whole lot of movement going on. Your gun's not going anywhere if it's a smaller gun and it's in here. Now, moving on to this one, as you can see, there's a lot more space, and as we already measured, this is a lot deeper than this one. So what that means is if you have a firearm that's a lot thinner, a lot smaller, one, it being a shorter gun, it's going to move back and forth a lot more. Two, being a thinner gun, is going to bounce up and down more. So let me show you guys what that sounds like. As you can hear, it's sliding all around the box. It's, you know, so it's just something to consider if you guys are looking for a box that will suit your needs. If you have a bigger firearm, this is definitely the case that you want. If you have a smaller firearm, this is most likely going to be the case you want. But you can never go wrong with more room. However, I would just prefer this one for a smaller firearm. So if you're thinking about what you should get to travel with, I'd advise probably both, depending on what you carry. But for most people, if you're like me and you at least carry an extra mag and a knife and the gun, I'd advise using both if you're going on like an airplane or something, and here's why. So I just recently went to St. Louis. What I did was I put my Glock 22 in this case, empty of course, and it has a flashlight, a TLR 1HO. And what I did was I have a little pack that I got off Amazon that you can put the bullets in, and I put that next to it. And then in this one, I put the holster, the extra mag, and then I think I put the knife in this. You guys know when you travel, they beat your bags up and they throw them around. So my biggest fear is like them throwing my holster and something heavy falling on it in the bag and it being broken or something like that, and I get to where I'm going, and then I have to resort to try to find another holster, or have to resort to just carrying the gun in a different fashion. So I grab both because these things are very durable. The only thing that my only gripe about these cases is these, I've broken tons of them because if it falls wrong, they would just shatter apart. I would have probably preferred if these be metal, but then again, I mean, the box is supposed to float, it's airtight, so I understand. I don't know if that's like something with the design that they had to do it like that, but if these were a little bit more durable, I'd be happy, because I've ordered like probably a good 4 or 5 for this box and at least 2 or 3 for this box. They take 9-volt batteries. Pretty simple. The battery life lasts long. I think I've had these now for what, 2 years or so, and I've only replaced the battery like once, and that was at like the 1.5 year point. So like I said, if you guys are trying to consider which one to get, depending on the gun, if it's a bigger or a thicker gun, I'd steer you this way. If it's a smaller, thinner gun, I'd steer you this way. However, getting both wouldn't hurt, and it would leave your options a lot more open, so you can kind of shift it however you feel like works for you. But yeah, hopefully this helps you make a decision if you're on the fence. I know there weren't too many reviews, or last time I checked there weren't any. Last time I made a short about it, comparing the size of the two. I actually watched Coley on the War. That's where I first saw these at, and it made me decide to get one. Hopefully this helps you guys make a decision. If you did like the video, or if it did help you, please drop a like and a comment. Follow me on Instagram at FergTactical, spelled just like the YouTube name. And with that being said, I'm out, and see you guys next video.